Yo. Now the last time I made any videos about cursed images was 9 full months ago. I wanted to distance myself from the subject to experiment more and focus on my channel's future. Clarification though, I am still not doing cursed images content, so do not subscribe if you are expecting that. For those who don't know, I used to own the subreddit r/cursed images and quote unquote saved it more or less. If you want to hear more about that, I'll link Wang's video on the topic, which is still the crowning achievement of my time on the internet so far. Justin Wang is also a really nice person, so please support him, not like he needs my help, but still. Back to the subject at hand, while I owned the subreddit, I decided to make 2 videos for new users as an alternative to the exhaustingly long guidelines. Only issue, I've literally never edited a video before that point in my life, so those 2 videos are 2 painful blemishes on both my legacy and the subreddit as a whole. So now that I have a year of YouTube under my belt, I've decided to combine both videos into one. What is a cursed image, and how do you find them? Well, the first one is easy enough. A cursed image is an image that, logically, should not or could not exist. An image that raises many questions and answers just about none of them, resting firmly in the line between fact and fiction. However, considering how long this video is, I think you can guess that it gets a little bit more complicated. Namely, that something so heavily based on very vague feelings and ideas need guidelines to follow so that it can actually be defined. For example, here are 3 images. 1, 2, 3. Which are cursed? I'll give you 5 seconds. Psych! No matter what your answer is, it's correct. That 2-sentence definition gives so much leeway for interpretation that nothing is really defined. So how does r/cursed images define it? With a very simple system. 3 W's, 1 H. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but I was good at judging things, not naming them. I mean, come on. Anyways, it goes as such. Who, what, why, and how. When and where aren't really important, so we just leave them out. The less questions an image answers, the better. Who? No, I'm not an owl. Who defines the person or people in the image? Famous figures are often considered less cursed than normal people, as many famous people tend to be either eccentric or attract eccentric people, making them being placed in weird or illogical situations a lot more likely. This question, however, is the least important out of the 4. What? What can mean 2 things. What is the object or objects, or what is happening? So if you see a slimy goo being slowly rising out of a sewer drain, that would be fairly cursed. Why? A question I ask myself every day. This is the most important question out of the 4, mainly because it invalidates the vast majority of your awful posts in the subreddit. Like honestly, you children who go to their little friend Timmy and say, hey, we should take a funny picture of us T-posing, lol, and then post on the subreddit thinking anyone else will even entertain the thought of this absolute garbage fire to be cursed in any way, shape, or form, can take your T-post and shove it up your ass. If it's obvious it was done with the intention to be cursed, then it is not cursed, plain and simple. I'm talking to you, Grande. Lastly, how? You can reason this one out, I believe. There are also some rules we have to spell out directly, otherwise it'd be argued every single time, and even then it still is. So let's get into this is the not curse for the love of all that is holy speed round. 1. Gross food. Trust me, nobody cares. 2. Memes. You are not funny nor relatable. 3. Very obviously photoshopped images. You are not creative because you used the blur tool on Uganda Knuckles, little Timmy. 4. Images with text being the cursed thing in question. I don't care about your Ayago presentations, virgin. 5. Pop culture. We play fast and loose with this one, but keep your video games and your celebrities out of your images as much as possible. Why did I turn Bostonian? 6. Random objects you found sitting next to you. Like seriously, this actually needs to be explained to people. 7. Gore. Go somewhere else for your weird obsession with gore. We don't want it here. 8. Posts complaining about how nothing here is cursed. Shut up. Just honestly, shut up. 9. You and your friend doing stupid poses in the dark. And let me say this again for the people in the back. T-posing is not cursed. 10. Art pieces. 11. Furries, weebs, etc. Just because the fandom is weird doesn't mean it's cursed. 12. Halloween costumes. 13. Animals with lens flares. Surprisingly common submissions. 14. People doing dumb things. 15. Just broken stuff sitting around. 16. Mildly sexual things because haha penis. And finally, Nazi stuff. Also, read the rules, I'm not going over that here. Now, knowing what a cursed image is fairly easy, but what about finding them? Anyone who has seen this subreddit for long enough knows very well that reposts are by and large the most common form of post there, mainly because real new cursed images are extremely elusive. And I'll be real with you here, you still probably won't even find one with these methods. However, once upon a blue moon, you might underturn a rock on the darkest side, and within that vast darkness, you might very well find yourself something new and exciting. So, let's move on to 5. we have 8 methods. Some are good for adding to your own collection, and some are good for finding actually new cursed images. Or I should rather say, maybe kinda possibly good for finding new cursed images. I mean, what are you gonna do? So let's start with the most obvious one, Reddit. Our subreddit, r/cursed images, is the premier place to collect cursed images that already exist. However, if you spend too much time here, you'll find that our collection, much like Desperate Models in Hollywood, is running a little thin. In that case, you can come over to some of the other cursed subreddits. For example, if you lack self-respect, you can head over to cursed_images, where they have just as many rules as they've had cursed images total, around 6. Then there are some other completely uncursed subreddits like Cursed Minecraft, Cursed JoJo, Cursed Formers? Apparently a Cursed Transformers subreddit. Fuck if I know, man. Overall though, the only place you'll find real cursed images on Reddit is the home subreddit. Next we'll move to the only place on the internet more toxic with politics than Reddit, Twitter. And if you fight me on that, you're probably a Redditor. The only reason I know you're not a Twitter user is that instead of arguing with me, you'd be wishing death upon my family. Either way, there are a couple accounts dedicated to cursed images that you may be interested in. First, you have the account that popularized cursed images, @CursedImages. There are many classic images on the account, and many that aren't well known if you scroll all the way back to the start of the account. Not to say all of these images meet the current standards, but a good amount of them do. Next you have the account that I used to run, r/cursedimages. I'd say you could scroll through all of it, but I had the sense to make a zip file full of all of the images posted to the account. That is around 300 cursed images if I recall correctly, so do with that what you will. Now, ever since Tumblr removed all porn from its website, it hasn't been very good for much. The only other use for Tumblr now is cursed images. Warning, warning. The vast majority of these images are stupid and awful and I despise them, but you might find a half-decent image if you squint hard enough. Why did they remove all the porn? YouTube is awful. There are so many awful compilations, none of them are good. It's basically a lost cause to try and get better cursed images on YouTube. At least Call Me Carson made it funny, but the ones like cursed images with bonfire in the background, or cursed images featuring Mr. Blue Sky, or cursed images synced up with the audio of me banging your mom last night, to be fair, I did make that one. All I'm saying is that you can use YouTube, but tread very, very carefully. Google! Did I scare you? Good, stay on your toes. I'm not saying Google cursed images, by the way. I'm saying Google stuff like 10 creepy old photos and sort through all the articles. Search for things that describe cursed images instead of the actual term. That way you won't find the other kind of cursed images we try not to talk about here. 4chan. What is this, a video about actual good places to find cursed images? 4chan is a place you should avoid under most circumstances. It has a magnetic pull towards virgins like yourself and turns them into utter degenerates. However, if you've had gamer sex like me, you can resist it enough to make a cursed images 4chan thread. I prefer to post in the X board, paranormal, but you can also post it in B. I've had a couple successful threads on 4chan that have gotten me a couple images I've legitimately never seen before. Are you a high roller? Do you take risks without any thought of your actual chances of succeeding? Do you use the lottery because you genuinely think you have a shot? If so, you may like this next option, PetiteTube. PetiteTube is a website that randomly selects videos that nobody on YouTube has ever seen. 99.999% of the time, you will find nothing even closely resembling a cursed image. But if you find one of those special videos, you're guaranteed to have an image nobody has ever seen before. Or, you know, make it yourself. Get yourself some Photoshop, an ounce of scale, some friends, an old camera, good lighting positioning, the ability to make something clearly intentional not intentional, and a couple other things, and you might just make yourself a decent cursed image. Seriously though, it's very difficult to make cursed images. It will take a lot of experimentation and staging and props, but at the same time, it's an unexplored art form that you might be able to pave the way towards. The ability to create ominous chaos out of rigid structure, it's beautiful in a way. Despite my separation from cursed images, I've never stopped appreciating what they represent. They're unknown, something without clear answers that very well may never be answered as long as we live. In the age of the internet, where data and information of all kinds are as easy to access as a simple Google search, that same access leading to these images, these pieces of history we have no answer to, seems right in a way. A humbling example that we can never know everything and that perhaps we shouldn't try to. It's been a good year. I hit 5,000 subscribers and have grown a lot as a person. I've made new friends due to YouTube and have grown stronger with the old ones. And I will never forget that it all started thanks to my time on r/cursed images. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.